You're listening to Short History Shorts audio, where history speaks louder than images. The First Intermediate Period, roughly spanning 2181 to 2055 BC, was a turbulent chapter in Egyptian history when the grandeur of the Old Kingdom gave way to political chaos, regional division, and shifting centers of power. It began in the aftermath of the long and possibly unprecedented reign of Pepi II, the last significant pharaoh of the Old Kingdom's 6th dynasty. Pepi II's reign, potentially stretching over 90 years, saw the gradual erosion of centralized royal authority. The vast resources that had once flowed to the royal court were increasingly diverted to the provincial governors, known as nomarchs, whose power and wealth grew unchecked. As the Old Kingdom's centralized bureaucracy strained under economic burdens, exacerbated by lavish pyramid construction projects, frequent royal funerals, and an elaborate court lifestyle, another disaster struck. Years of low Nile inundations reduced crop yields, undermined food supplies, and fueled unrest across the two lands. When Pepi II died, a succession crisis ensued. Without a dominant monarch to bind Egypt together, the country fractured into multiple competing power centers. In the north, the city of Heracleopolis became the capital for the 8th and 9th dynasties, whose kings claimed legitimacy over all Egypt but struggled to project authority beyond their immediate territory in Lower Egypt. In the south, Thebes rose as a rival seat of power under local dynasties who saw themselves as heirs to Egypt's glory. Between these two poles, dozens of smaller nomarchs, once loyal administrators, now acted as independent rulers, levying taxes, raising militias, and expanding their own territories. This political disunity fueled a period of low-level but constant warfare. Skirmishes broke out between Heracleopolitan and Theban forces, while smaller principalities formed shifting alliances to protect themselves or to gain advantage over their neighbors. Monumental architecture, once the hallmark of a unified Egypt, declined sharply as resources were now consumed locally rather than centrally. Artistic styles also diversified. Tomb paintings and inscriptions reflected strong regional identities, with unique funerary customs emerging in different nomes. Literature from this period, such as the Dialogue of a Man with His Bar and the Admonitions of Ipuva, reveals a society grappling with themes of disorder, famine, and moral decay, hinting at the social impact of Egypt's political fragmentation. Despite the instability, the First Intermediate Period was not an age of cultural collapse. In fact, it saw a flourishing of local expression, with smaller workshops and artisans serving provincial elites rather than the royal court. However, Egypt's international influence waned. Trade networks shrank, fortresses in Nubia were abandoned, and foreign incursions into the delta went largely unchecked. The era drew to a close when the Theban king Mentuhotep II launched a determined military campaign against Heracleopolis, defeating the north and reunifying Egypt under the 11th dynasty. His victory ushered in the Middle Kingdom, a renaissance of centralized government and national identity. But the memory of the First Intermediate Period endured as a cautionary tale. Even the mightiest civilization could fracture when central authority faltered, leaving Egypt vulnerable to division, famine, and civil war.